Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
From St. Louis Public Radio. This is St. Louis on the Air.
I'm Eileen Cha. Our region's been abuzz with news that St. Louis Public Schools has named its new leader. After a months-long national search, the SLPS Board of Education announced this week that Keisha Scarlett, currently the Chief Academic Officer and Assistant Superintendent of Academics for Seattle Public Schools, will take up the role of SLPS Superintendent. St. Louis Public Radio education reporter Kate Grumke spoke with Scarlett about her reasons for coming to St. Louis and what she's anticipating as she looks ahead to starting her job as St. Louis Public School Superintendent on July 1. Kate started that conversation with a why.
It seems from your resume that a superintendent role is a natural next step for you. But why do you want to take on that job here in St. Louis?
You know, I have really thought about the superintendent roles for me, and St. Louis this year is the only district that I had applied to. And, you know, one of the things that led me to St. Louis happened on the heels of the tragedy of Central Performing Arts, Visual and Performing Arts School. And it actually ended up 15 days later that Seattle Public Schools had our own school shooting that resulted in a fatality. And watching the response in St. Louis Public Schools was instructive for us as well. But also watching the pride and the resilience and the commitment as I traced and tracked the school leader, the district leadership and their response, it just made me pay closer attention to St. Louis Public Schools. Also, really inspired by the citywide education plan work that's happening across the city's schools, the complexities therein of St. Louis Public Schools working with other schooling entities together. But it really let me know about that St. Louis is a city that really wants education to win, really wants their students to be educated, and it's just a great city. And so I'm super excited to be welcomed into the city with my own family.
And when you were visiting, what did you see as the biggest challenges and opportunities for St. Louis Public Schools?
I always start with opportunity and just the goodness. And the school leaders, the school teams. I got a chance to meet parents dropping off their children. I got a chance to meet the students themselves, which are the promise of the future. When I think about public education and the value proposition for all of us, we are inextricably connected in the value around public education for our students and the outcomes within that. And so when I think about this opportunity to lead in St. Louis Public Schools, the opportunity to engage, to explore, but also empower us based upon the strengths that exist in our community, in our city, and the commitment to work and to move forward to ensure that SLPS is the very best education for students really inspires me.
And there are some tough challenges here. Both the city and the school district have seen years of population decline, and many families say the quality of schools is a reason they left. What can you do to keep families in St. Louis or even attract new ones to the city?
What I noticed when I visited schools was hardworking educators who were not wasting any time. They had students engaged minute by minute in those classrooms. A lot of times these aren't the prevailing messages that come from our schools. It's really hard to do really hard work. A lot of times our head is sort of down as we're working, but we have to look up and be able to celebrate those victories. And I saw victories happening through student interactions throughout my visit across the 6 schools within that. So that gives me hope. And there are challenges, but I do believe that the community has the cure for those challenges together, that resources need to be allocated appropriately to ensure that students have equitable access to unlimited possibilities. And I do believe that St. Louis is capable of being a gateway to unlimited possibility for students, both in sharing the stories that are happening every single day, but also being really disciplined and but also hopeful about the work that we do in collaboration with each other as an entire city and an entire school community. So that is both the challenge and opportunity space that we're in as far as the future of education that everyone is experiencing nationally.
And former Superintendent Calvin Adams said one of his biggest regrets is that he wasn't able to do more to improve academic outcomes in the district. What fresh ideas do you have for making sure kids are achieving academically?
Well, I want to applaud Superintendent Adams for being one of the longest tenured urban superintendents in the country. The work that St. Louis Public Schools has done with their school board in order to move out of a receivership to be able to have their accreditation retained. There's so many things that have gone into that and such a hard work of this community. And I believe there's so much infrastructure and many underpinnings for success. And so when I think about the future of education, I've had a chance to look at the work just through newsletters in the Office of Academics. Many of these things are the best practices that we know as far as educating students and moving forward together in collaboration for this. And so I do believe that St. Louis Public Schools is on the precipice of the renaissance that they really want to have. And I'm really glad to have the stability that was afforded by having Dr. Adams, Superintendent Adams, long-term leadership and stability that was created for the city and for this school district as we move forward.
And could you share a story of academic success from your career that could tell us more about how you're going to approach this here in St. Louis?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things I'm really proud of is our Seattle Excellence Strategic Plan. Our Seattle Excellence Strategic Plan has 3 areas within our goals. One is around early literacy, one around middle school mathematics proficiency, and another one around college and career readiness and advanced coursework for college and career readiness. Now, what we do know is that even enrolling in one advanced course not only exponentially, I would say, increases students' graduation, but also increases their the probability that they'll enroll in college and also persevere in college. That starts right in their K through 12 education. So making sure that our students have access to high quality advanced coursework is very important. And also what we've seen are our graduation rates are increasing steadily. Our pre-pandemic, even to now in the return to school, graduation rates have increased over 7 percentage points over the past 4 years in Seattle Public Schools. A lot of this has to do with the work that we've been doing on looking at grading practices, the warm and welcoming environments, but also rigorous coursework opportunities, which include AP, IB, career and technical education, and also career-connected learning opportunities so that students can see themselves in working professionals and have those experiences up ahead of time. So I think that's all part of a formula for success to ensure that our students are thriving and have that gateway to unlimited possibility.
Like many school districts, St. Louis has struggled with a teacher shortage. What are you planning to do to support teachers in the district?
Well, the first thing that needs to happen for educators is for them to really feel like they own their profession. Our educators are our first responders. We understand and saw very much so during pandemic the response of schools to ensure that students were just being taken care of, and the commitment of educators across this country and in St. Louis public schools is something to be applauded. And I had a chance to meet with schools, with school teams and educators, just to really talk to them about what their hopes and dreams and promises are. And when I think about the future of educators, I think about the opportunity that I've had in Seattle Public Schools to help co-develop and and launch the Academy for Rising Educators. The Academy for Rising Educators in Seattle Public Schools is a partnership between the City of Seattle, SPS, and also Seattle Central College. We have created barrier-free, tuition-free access to educator pathways for recent high school graduates, career professionals in Seattle Public Schools, and also community members. I found that so many community members really do want to give back, and they want to teach in our system, and St. Louis is no different. There's a lot of pride and commitment of residents there, and so some of our next teachers are sitting in classrooms right now in those high schools and in those pathways as well. And so as a result of this work that we've done through Academy for Rising Educators, we have over 300 pre-service educators in the pathway to become certificated educators. And so it is a bright spot, honestly, nationally, when you think about what we're hearing about teacher shortages. So having educators who feel heard, have an opportunity to own their profession and have the resources to be that support them with their longevity. We can't just hire educators, we need to retain them. We need to have diverse educators that reflect the students that we also serve in St. Louis Public Schools. And so it's an exciting opportunity, and I hope to be able to find out more about what St. Louis is already doing to both hire and retain school leaders, and also bring my own experience and some successes that I've had in my current context to St. Louis Public Schools.
And obviously, it's easy to focus on problems that need solutions in education, but what is most exciting to you in education right now?
I would say the ingenuity, what's happening, and what happened when we went to the one-to-one environments. A great opportunity is around digital curriculum. You know, once a book is printed, it goes out of date, and so there's something dynamic about having online curricular access. How do we ensure these devices don't become doorstops and paperweights, but to really help foster the 21st century skills for our students? How do we think about our students as the next creatives and entrepreneurs and founders of the future, and really start that work? It starts in pre-kindergarten, it starts in pre-K, and moves throughout into post-secondary. So I'm excited about opportunities to, I say that we were a rubber band and we were stretched by the pandemic. We can't just let it snap back and go back to business as usual and how things were before. So there are a lot of opportunities for us to bring the innovation, be able to share the innovation that's happening in classrooms all across the school district, and make that the norm for students, and the expectation that families can have for their students to have as part of their education in St. Louis Public Schools.
And as you mentioned before, former Superintendent Adams was one of the longest-serving leaders in St. Louis Public Schools history, and the stability he brought had a measurable positive impact on the district. You've been with Seattle Public Schools for 24 years. Can St. Louis families expect a long-term commitment from you?
One of the things that I value the most that was instilled to me from my family is that my greatness is connected to my service to community. I have had other opportunities, but I have intentionally remained in Seattle Public Schools and grown along with the school district over time. As a result of my leadership, I have innovated and brought new programs, both as a teacher, as a school leader, and as a district leader, and that keeps me excited and passionate about the work ongoing. What I can say is that St. Louis Public Schools can expect the very same. I am a community-centered leader. I do not try to remove myself or recuse myself from community. I think it's important to both be accountable and answerable. Accountability means, making decisions, but that answerability means being in proximity to justify the decisions that were made, by the system. And so you do that by being out in community, not just bringing people to the table, but taking the table out into community and really valuing the values and priorities and interests of students and families, particularly those that have been underserved by systems. And so I am absolutely excited about the future. So excited about the red carpet treatment that I received when I came into St. Louis last week, and I'm super excited about the future and having longevity with the school system.
That was incoming Superintendent of St. Louis Public Schools, Keisha Scarlett, speaking with St. Louis Public Radio's education reporter, Kate Grumke. Scarlett will begin her new role as district head on July 1st.
Today's episode was produced by Alex Hoyer, with audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr. Our production intern is Avery Rogers. Our executive producer is Alex.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Our podcast proudly supports St. Louis artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.